There's a brand new Scream installment coming out this weekend. I'm going to let you know what I think about it next. Hey everyone, it's the Outlaw John Rocha here with a brand new non-spoiler review for you for Scream, this new installment in the Scream franchise. It's coming out in theaters this weekend. This one comes to us from the Radio Silence guys, specifically Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, doing the directing here with James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick doing the screenplay. And of course, these characters based on the great work that Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven did back in the 90s. And this one's named after the first installment in the franchise. So interesting. People are calling it Scream 5 or Scream 2022. But before I get too deep into this review, I just want to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the new content. Then follow and subscribe to me, The Outlaw Nation, all one word, there on Twitch. You see it on the screen. But today we're talking about Scream, this new installment here. And I got to tell you right off the bat, I enjoyed it. I really had a great time with this movie. I didn't know what to expect. I was a little trepidatious, and full disclosure, I'm not the biggest Scream fan like some of my friends are, some of you watching are, but I enjoyed the franchise. I always appreciated the franchise. I saw the first two films in the theater, saw the third one obviously on home video. The fourth one was okay, not the greatest thing, but I did like those first two Scream films. So I was excited, and I liked Ready or Not from the Radio Silence guys. So I was excited to see this combination of people coming together to create this installment. And like I said, I enjoyed it. Let's get into the things that I liked here overall. The first thing that I liked is the acting. You know, I like to start with the acting. I think Melissa Barrera does a fantastic job here as Sam Carpenter. You know, stepping in to be the lead of a franchise after someone like Neve Campbell has created such an iconic character in Sidney Prescott is not an easy thing to do. And I thought she did a fantastic job. She's got a lot going on in her background that she's playing throughout the movie, and it's right there on her face as she's experiencing those multiple emotions and the multiple memories from her past playing out. Really great job by Sam Barrera. But then she has fantastic chemistry with Jenna Ortega, who plays Tara Carpenter, her sister. You know, Jenna Ortega is handed that task of being a part of the iconic opening scene in any Scream film, and that is that phone call scene, and she does an excellent job in that scene and throughout the movie. Also want to give some love to Jack Quaid, who's so much fun in this movie. You know, you bring someone like Jack Quaid in because you want to bring somebody who's got this experience, this talent, this ability that he has shown in numerous places, including The Boys. So it was nice to see him be a part of this franchise. And a big shout out to Jasmin Savoy Brown as Mindy Meeks Martin. She stands out so well in this movie. I had no idea who she was and really enjoyed her portrayal in the film, and all the meta stuff and meta dialogue that she's given to say and all of that. I enjoy that she's a matter of fact, no nonsense kind of person, but also loves to kind of prod her friends a little bit. So a really nice job overall by everybody in the cast. Of course, seeing Neve Campbell come back, seeing Courtney Cox come back, seeing David Arquette come back as Sidney Prescott and Gale Weathers and Dewey Riley was really great to see. Nice to see that. I mean, Neve Campbell, I always say this till I'm blue in the face. She should have been way more famous, way more successful than she ended up becoming. Maybe it was her choices, but I would like to have seen her be the lead in a number of franchises because she's a damn good actress. So it was great to see. And Courtney Cox, I think she did a fantastic job as well in this movie. She has some really nice scenes for her to play here throughout the movie. But David Arquette, of the three, David Arquette is my favorite of the three, and mostly because of what they do with his character in the movie. And he's fantastic coming back into this thing. You know, David Arquette is a damn good actor. When he gets material that really works for him, I think he brings the best of his talent out, and certainly that's here to see in this movie. Another thing I liked is the direction. I thought, as I said, the Radio Silence guys did a really nice job. I like the pacing of the movie. I like the way they framed the shots. I like the way that they kind of brought out the feeling of Woodsboro and the history of Woodsboro throughout the movie. They do a really nice job of building up the tension in certain moments, kind of fooling you, setting up jump scares. Some of them happen, some of them don't. So you're along for the ride, and the mood and the feel and the atmosphere of the movie is there throughout. Really enjoyed some of the sequences that they put together. As I said, the opening sequence, not an easy thing to do. Really enjoyed the inventive and new way they brought that forward as directors. So a lot to enjoy and have fun with in the direction here from the Radio Silence. Also want to give some love to James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick who write the script here. You know, the thing about a Scream film is you have to constantly be guessing if they're the killer or not, if every character you can counter is the killer or not. And I think they do a nice job with some of these interactions, kind of showcasing or kind of walking that line between the two and showcasing the actors' talents and abilities to kind of play whether they're the murderer or not, kind of play that level, that color here throughout. And I think they do a nice job with some of the writing in those scenes, not in all the scenes. And I'll get to some of that later on in my video. I also like the way that they made these characters connected to the original characters from the first four films. I like that they're weaving their stories in, connected to what their parents or what their uncles and aunts went through as being a part of the first four movies and being a part of all the events that were happening there in Woodsboro. Having them connected means you don't have to do all this exposition, all this extra time explaining it. You have them already knowing everything that happened in that town and the legacy of those events in that town and how it affected them growing up and how it affects them now as they see it happening again with a new ghost face killer or killers. Also, I like the way that they weave in Gale and Dewey and Sidney back into the world of Scream, back into the world of Woodsboro. I like seeing them back. I like the way they were woven into this story. It made sense when they showed up. I think it really, really works to have them be a part of it. Now, how believable it is, that's a whole nother ball game, and we should get into that in just a second. And one last thing I want to give some love to is Brian Tyler's score. I think Brian Tyler's score is really great in the film. And the guys, the Radio Silence guys, do a great job with these kills and with the attacks. Those are really well directed, and Brian Tyler's score adds and accentuates the feeling of tension and fear and gore, and then also shock when you see that certain things happening and the way that certain people die. The direction and the score do a really great job of bringing that home to you as a viewer. Now, some of the things that I didn't like about the movie, I will have to say that some things happen that are a little too convenient. The cops are never around or don't show up on time. They're always a few steps behind, and people can get killed out in broad daylight, and apparently no one witnessed anything. No one has a camera of anything. No one has a video of anything. And that kind of bothered me a little bit. It seemed a bit too convenient to have these really public attacks, really public, loud situations that everybody can hear, but no one ever seems to come into the room at the right time. No one ever seems to kind of see this or capture it on video or stop this. I think also the way Sidney Prescott comes back, it seemed a bit convenient for a reason for her to come back, rather than something that was a struggle, right? I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a struggle from Sidney Prescott about coming back to Woodsboro, about opening the door back to this again. The same thing with Gale. I mean, Gale is the host of a national morning show. So how motivated would she be to go back to Woodsboro, risk that for this kind of a situation? So I just was a little, I wasn't the biggest fan of how they got them to Woodsboro. Once they were there, though, I really liked their chemistry together, really liked the way they worked, the little jokes and allusions to stuff from the past in the Scream films. Near the middle of the movie, there are some exchanges here, some stuff that goes on with the script that I think are a bit kind of too on the nose. Yeah, the meta stuff is fine to talk about it, and the meta stuff they get into is interesting, but some of the meta stuff I think becomes a little bit of a too pointed attack. Like they go after toxic fandoms, and I'm like, really, are we doing that in the Scream film? Is that really a necessary element that you need to put into the Scream film? Just present the film, have some fun with meta horror stuff and even some meta Scream stuff, which they certainly talk about under the guise of it being the Stab series. All of that really works, but when they start to get a little too topical, a little too pointed, I think it becomes ham-handed and it doesn't quite 100% work. And also, I want to say the ending, I think the ending is going to split the fandom. I think some people are going to enjoy the ending. Some people are not going to enjoy the ending. I enjoyed the ending for the most part, but it did feel like some of the acting was a little overdone in the ending. And the reasons for why the killer or killers are doing the things that they're doing, you're just kind of really, because I mean, the first film, you understood the motivation. It really worked. In this film, you're like, you can decide for yourself if it worked for you. It didn't 100% work for me. But I did enjoy the fact that we got a pretty well-directed finale that had some cool stuff happening. So overall, I give the film about 3.75 cowboy hats out of 5. Did it 100% get there? No, it didn't, but it got there just enough for me to enjoy it. But I had to ding it for some of the issues with the script, some of the issues, some of the plot conveniences a little bit kind of, and then there are spots in the middle where it kind of drags a little bit. But overall, I had a really good time with it. Really enjoyed it. Highly recommended for you all to watch. If you do, let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. Let me know what you thought of this review in the comments section below as well. Really appreciate all the comments you guys leave down there, especially the constructive criticism or different points of views. Really enjoy you all kind of giving your 2 cents and me kind of looking at it and assessing it. Some of you bring up excellent points for sure that I hadn't thought of, and I always appreciate that. And please remember to hit a like on this video as well. Always appreciate the likes in the comments, and share it on your social media. Also, I want to let you all know to look out for our spoiler review of this film coming out later this week. Jeff Snyder is going to be joining me. He is a big Scream fan, so he's joining me to get down and dirty with this film and tell you what he liked and didn't like. And we'll get deeper into the reveals and some of the stuff that happens in the movie as well. So look for that happening later on this weekend. All right, take care of yourselves, be well, and go and see Scream this weekend. And I'll talk to you next time with another brand new non-spoiler review here from the Outlaw Nation.